While the world looks to the South China Sea and the conflict with China, the Philippines continues to face a far deadlier enemy. One that strikes every year, without warning, and without mercy. This is not war, not an invasion, and yet the destruction is massive, the cost staggering, the lives lost and forever changed.
Tensions are rising in one of the most hotly contested regions on the planet, the South China Sea.
Yes, there will always be tension in the seas, but the older, harsher adversary of the Philippines is not foreign. The Philippines is paradise on Earth, a nation of more than 7,600 islands scattered across the Pacific, each with its own wonder to offer. From the turquoise lagoons of Palawan, to the powdery white sands of Boracay, to the perfect volcanic cone of Mayon, nature here paints scenes that belong on postcards. Beneath the waves lies a hidden kingdom, home to some of the best diving spots on the planet. Tubataha Reef, Apo Reef, and countless marine sanctuaries that are treasures of global heritage. But beyond its landscapes, it is the Filipino people who shine the brightest. Warm, welcoming, and resilient, carrying a spirit that endures through centuries. Hospitality here is not a gesture, but a way of life. The culture bursts with fiestas and music, dance and faith, a rhythm that celebrates both struggle and triumph. Even its food tells a story. Flavors born of history, diversity, and creativity. It's no wonder that year after year, travelers from across the world fall in love with these islands. For in the Philippines, it is not just the views that take your breath away. It is the spirit of the people who call it home. And yet, paradise comes with a price written by its geography, its location, and its place on the map of the Earth itself. The Philippines sits directly in the path of storms that brew in the vast Pacific, where warm waters give birth to tempests that grow into monsters. Each one spins with the power to rewrite maps and erase lives. Year after year, an average of 20 tropical cyclones enter Philippine territory. Nearly half make landfall. And when they do, they bring chaos. Winds strong enough to rip roofs from homes and topple power lines. Rains that drown entire towns and cities beneath walls of water. Seas that rise with fury, swallowing coastlines, farmlands, and the lives built upon them. For most countries, disasters come once in a generation. But for the Philippines, they come every year. Each storm, a test of endurance, each landfall, a battle for survival. And, as if that were not enough, the islands also rest directly above the Pacific Ring of Fire, one of the most seismically active regions on Earth. Beneath its soil, fault lines twist and grind. At any moment, the ground can shake without warning. Along the line, more than 20 active volcanoes stand watch over its islands, from the simmering Taal to the majestic yet deadly Mayon, each capable of unleashing fire, ash, and destruction. The result is a nation living under constant threat, a paradise forever tested by the forces that surround it. Typhoons that rip through the islands with relentless winds, floods that turn streets into rivers and sweep away lives in minutes, landslides that bury entire communities without warning, earthquakes that strike from the depths of the earth, shaking cities to their core, and volcanoes that sleep for years, only to awaken in fire and ash. Here, disaster is not a question of if, but when. It can come without warning, in the middle of the night, or beneath a cloudless sky. Few places on Earth are as breathtaking as the Philippines, yet so exposed to nature's fury. In the Philippines, beauty and danger exist side by side, a fragile balance between paradise and peril. In 1991, Mount Pinatubo erupted in one of the most powerful blasts of the century. A cataclysm so vast it displaced millions, buried towns in ash, and cooled the Earth's climate. And still not enough, as if the Philippines can take some more, that same year, the Ormoc flash flood struck without mercy, killing thousands in just a matter of hours. In 2013, Super Typhoon Yolanda, one of the strongest storms ever recorded, tore through Tacloban, flattening the city and leaving more than 6,000 lives lost in its wake. Each of these events is a stark reminder. The Philippines' worst enemy is not waiting beyond its borders. It is woven into the land, the seas, and the skies, a relentless force that surrounds the nation itself. The past 2 years alone show how relentless this cycle is. In September 2025, a magnitude 6.9 earthquake struck Cebu, collapsing homes and offices, killing dozens. Among them, members of the Philippine Coast Guard. They died not in battle at sea, but while trying to protect their fellow citizens. Just months earlier, Typhoon Ragasa swept through northern Luzon, uprooting communities and flooding towns. Typhoon Bualoy followed, battering provinces, destroying farmland and infrastructure. Even tropical storms like Komay, not as strong as typhoons, triggered deadly floods and landslides, costing dozens of lives. These tragedies are not isolated. They are the lived reality of millions. Every disaster comes with a cost, not only in lives lost and homes destroyed, but in funds and resources diverted for rescue and rehabilitation. The Philippine military, Coast Guard, and police are always on the front lines of disaster relief. Military vehicles meant for defense are used to ferry relief goods. Funds meant for military modernization are redirected to rebuilding lives and infrastructure. Billions of pesos, year after year, go not to preparing for the next war, but to repairing the damage left behind by nature's war. It is a trade-off no government can ignore, but the story is not only about nature. Human decisions magnify the damage. Poor land use planning allows houses on floodplains and slopes. Weak enforcement of building codes leaves families vulnerable. Corruption and mismanagement delay and reduce aid. Local governments that are severely underfunded and overwhelmed struggle to cope. And now, climate change makes storms stronger, rains heavier, seas higher. The future only promises more destruction, yet there is resilience. Communities are learning to adapt. Early warning systems save lives. Resilient houses and evacuation drills keep families safer. The armed forces and Coast Guard respond quickly, often saving thousands of lives. NGOs, local heroes and international partners step in when needed. The Filipino spirit is not easily broken. Time and again, the people rise from the ruins to rebuild. So while leaders focus on the South China Sea, on bases, alliances, and tensions with China, the Philippines wages another war every single year. A war not fought with guns or ships, but with nature itself. Every storm that makes landfall, every quake that shakes the ground, every flood that drowns a city, this is the battlefield. And this enemy has claimed more Filipino lives than any foreign power in modern history. To ignore this battle is as dangerous as ignoring the seas. So what can we do? Demand accountability. Strengthen disaster response. Build smarter, stronger, and safer. Support climate action, responsible planning, and resilient infrastructure. Because every bridge that stands, every home that holds, is a victory. And on the personal level, prepare. Educate our families, our communities. We cannot stop the storms or the quakes, but we can be ready when they come. They say wars decide nations. But for the Philippines, it may not be warships or missiles that shape its destiny. It may be storms, floods, and quakes. For in the end, the Philippines' greatest enemy is also its greatest teacher, reminding us again and again that resilience is the true strength of a nation.